Hi YouTube, I'm back with another festival face for you. This time it's a unisex design. So we're starting off with a green split cake, and with the dark green on the outside we're going to create a lightning stripe. So one stroke down, try not to lift the brush up and then sideways, and then twisting your brush to a point. So we've just done it again in blue, and now I'm just loading up the red and yellow. And we're going to create one over the eyebrow here. This placement's pretty random. I just like the fact that they're overlapping, but you can place them wherever you feel, and you can use different colours obviously if you want to. On that red one, I would have, if I was to do it again, I'd switch the colours around so that the red was on the outer part of the lightning stripe, but it looks okay as it is. So just make sure you're twisting your brush to a good point. And make sure your brush is nice and loaded when you go over eyebrows, because I had to reload as you saw there. Now picking up some yellow paint, we're going to create some smaller lightning stripes around the design. So I've kind of gone on top to create a multi-dimensional feel. So it's literally just 3 flicks and then just going back in and making sure the shape's right. You want your lightning stripes to be thicker at the top and kind of go outwards. Make sure it's got a nice fine point flicking out from the bottom. Next we're loading up with some lime green, and we're going to do the same thing and just keep adding these shapes until you feel that your design's full enough and that there's not too many gaps. I'm going behind the red with this one again, just to give it that dimensional feel. And then going in with some blue, we're going to just add some lines, add some more colour to the design. And you can go as far with this as you want. If you've got a long line, you don't have to do this bit. I think it looks cool just with the split cakes. And then to really jazz things up, we're going to go in with some dots. I always like to do dots starting off big and then going smaller. So that's what you see me doing here. Make sure your paint is nice and wet, but not too runny so that it doesn't ruin your design. We're going to add a bit of flow to the design as well by coming off of the lightning stripes and tying all things together. So here you see my paint was too dry, so I had to go back in with some water to add those dots in. And I did go with different colours on top of the lightning stripes just so that it adds huge contrast. I didn't on the orange one, and I regret that. I should have added green dots to the orange lightning stripe because they don't really show up much, but hey ho, you live and you learn. So I really like the use of primary colours in this one. It gives it kind of a comic feel, I think. But you could also, I think this would look really cool with neon colours if you were painting at a UV party. I'm actually thinking of doing a UV design series. If any of you guys are interested in that, leave a comment down below and I'll get on to sharing some of my designs. I just need to get a UV light, I think, to really bring them to life. But yeah, I love painting in UV. Next we're going to add some outlines, so I switched my brush to a number 2, just so it's a bit harder for me to muck up with bold lines. So yeah, we don't want the black to overpower this design because it is so colourful. So I outlined all of the lightning stripes just to really cement their shape in, and so that you could really see like what one was on top and what one was behind, again adding that dimension. If you really had a bit of extra time on your hands, you could make these a bit more 3D, so thicken the stripes on one of the sides. But I just went ahead and just added a basic outline for this one. Then I decided to outline just the bottom of the dots to give them a bit of dimension. So just going around like a crescent shape on all of them. Here I forgot to outline the orange dots, which the ones that I should have done first, because they're the ones that don't stand out and pop out of the design. Next we're going in with the highlights, which is always my favourite bit to do. So you can see I'm adding the line with the 3 dots to give it again that kind of comic, kind of graffiti style to it. And then we're Again, adding some more white dots just to add flow to the design, going around the back of them, and just really just filling in any extra space that you've got left behind. And that is that design done. I hope you like this one. It can be really quick, or you can really make it really detailed if you've got that kind of time on your hands. And I think it's great because it can be used for boys or girls, and if you switch up the colours it will look like a different design every time. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again next Saturday.